Hello, my name is Dani. I'm an art instructor, and today I'm going to show you how to use your watercolors to paint some sunflowers. Sunflowers are my favorite flower, and I definitely associate them with late summer, so I thought now would be a great time to paint them together. I've got two slightly different designs here. Sunflowers come in a few different colors, yellow, orange, and red, with all different gradients in between. If you want to go with a classic sunflower, just using golden yellow or putting both golden yellow and orange on your paintbrush will work perfectly for these. And these sunflowers, you can see very slight gradients in the petals that make them look really warm and subtle. If you want to go for something a little more wild like these red and yellow sunflowers, I would recommend putting down the yellow petals first, and then, while the water is still wet, adding splashes of red to see some vibrant bleeding of colors. You can always add extra water to any part of a watercolor painting to achieve the same effect, but be careful to not oversaturate the page or it will wrinkle. We will paint one of each of these sunflower styles together. For this activity, you'll need watercolor paper, a cup of water, a paintbrush, watercolors, and a paper towel to dab your paintbrush when you have too much water on your brush. So grab your materials and we can get started. Sunflowers have very large round centers in proportion to their petals when compared to most other flowers. Their seeds are quite large and all packed in a tight spiral formation in the center, but we're not going to worry about painting each seed for this activity. We're just going to get some brown paint on our brush, whatever kind of brown you want, and we're going to place down one circle for each flower, making sure there's enough room for the petals around them. So I'm going to dip my paintbrush in my water, then into some brown paint, maybe multiple kinds of brown if I want to play around with a combination of colors, and put down two circles. Since I don't want the center of the sunflowers to bleed into the petals, I'm going to wait until they are dry before I add the yellow petals. Once they're dry, I'm going to start with the petals. This first sunflower will be the one with a very subtle orange and yellow gradient. The reason why I'm using two colors instead of one is that the slightly different colors will dry with a really interesting texture and a soft gradient without being too sharp of contrast. So I'm dipping my paintbrush in some water and into both my golden yellow and orange paints. Sunflower petals are widest in the middle and come to a point. So I'm going to repeat that shape on the other side, an arc pulling out and back up to the point, and then filling it in. So once again, I'm getting some yellow and orange on my brush, pulling a line out and up, repeating that same shape, out and up, and filling it in. Awesome! So we can see a really subtle difference in each petal. Some of them are a bit more golden, some a bit more orange, and they're all going to have a really neat gradient. It's a very soft color change. For the next sunflower, I'm going to use a sharp contrast of bright yellow and red. So now for each petal, I'm going to paint them yellow. Then while the paint is still wet, I'm going to add a bright splash of red. I can always add more water to use as a vehicle for the color to spread as well. So I'm dipping my paintbrush in my water And I'm going to use a bright yellow here. And using the same shape as before, going out into a point. And then getting a little bit of bright red on my brush, and I can lightly tap the red down and see how the colors will bleed together. So once again, I'm going to get some bright yellow on my brush, pull the petal out and up, get some red on my brush, and placing my brush down. I'm just letting the water do its thing. I'm not trying to control where the paint goes, but I can always move my brush in different ways, maybe do a little bit of an outline on a petal if I want to accentuate that. I'm just letting the paint and the water flow freely. So I'm going to repeat that step with each one. A bit of yellow and a splash of red. There we have it. We've got a couple of nice sunflowers. You can either hang this on your wall, give it as a gift, or even put it on the front of a card for somebody. I hope you had fun making art with me, and I'll see you next time.